All right, welcome back to season 6 of our show, and today we're doing something that I never ever do, put a brisket in the oven. But if we are going to do so, we're going to show you the best way how to get the job done. Let's show you how to do it. All right, so today is oven brisket, which I never would recommend, but today we're going to show you, like I said, the best way how to get this done. So the first thing you want to do is start with a good sized brisket. You don't want a small brisket on this because it's going to be in the oven for a while, and small things just seem to shrink up, and then you're stuck with this little itty bitty piece, and it's just never a good idea to work with a small sized brisket because you're never going to maintain the juice and the moistness as you will with a larger cut. So let's take a look at this. 19 pounds. It's a big boy. And if you can take a brisket when it's thawed out and touch one end to the other like that, you know you have a good brisket. That's how you judge a brisket, and you want to judge it from the amount of fat that's in here. If you can hardly bend it and you're going like this and you can get it about there, don't do it. It's not a good brisket. It's got way too much fat in here. So one thing I like when I do an oven cook, see all this fat on top? You gotta leave about 98% of this. And there's a couple of spots around the brisket that you wanna just knock off. Like there's a couple of spots here. So what we'll do, I'm gonna take my knife, I'm gonna start to cut that off. And don't worry about getting this brisket to look uniform or rounded off. You know, it's fine. I see a couple of brisket videos out here and these guys are making it aerodynamic and they're cutting off all this good meat. To me, that's insanity. I would never cut off good meat to make a brisket. Aerodynamic, they call it. What is this thing, flying through the wind? I mean, this is a super brisket. You gotta put on a cape, let this thing fly across the room. I mean, come on. I've heard a lot of things, but that to me is ridiculous. And they'll say that the smoke is gonna hit it better if it's aerodynamic. Let me tell you something. Smoke, when it hits something, it goes all over the place. You cannot control smoke. And smoke doesn't fly in a certain angle. It just permeates everything. If you ever got caught in a fire, or if you had some things caught in a fire, there's something called smoke damage. And smoke damage will go everywhere. It'll get into cracks, crevices, and anywhere you can think of. So we're just gonna cut this off up here. So the smoke will go in every place. Believe me, it'll go into places that you don't even want it to go in. So don't ever worry about the meat not being aerodynamic. It's ridiculous. All right, so I'm gonna just feel around and just get off this top layer here. I'm just using my tray. I could put this on a cutting board, but we're gonna salt it on here, so. All right, there we go. And I'm just gonna feel around. But this whole top layer up here, this is the part that you wanna really get that fat off of. There's a pocket right here, so let's just get that off. And I'm just following it around. Because when this cooks down and that fat starts to melt in, you're not gonna recognize that anyway, the angle of you cutting that. So I'm just gonna keep feeling. And then I feel a chunk here. I'm gonna probably take that off as well too. And you can't see any of the meat, right? So just get it off of there. Let's lift that up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just gonna put the fat right back on the tray. And just get most of this top fat off of here. Then you got the bottom of the meat. Let's spin this around. You got the bottom down here. I'm gonna look around. I see all that fat protecting the end of the brisket down here on the flat. See that? I want all that. I'm gonna keep every bit of that around here. Then you can look and you can see the size of the fat cap over here, and you could just take it and just go down just a little bit. Not much. Just take it down a little bit. Almost skimming on the top. The most important part of this brisket. See that? I didn't take off a lot of fat. Let's do this. We're gonna take our knife and just score all over the brisket. So what you're basically doing, you're basically giving that fat a chance to open when you score it like this. So I'm not going down real deep, but I'm actually just cutting through the fat part of the meat. Now when I'm doing a cook outside on the smoker, I don't do all this. But this is just stuff that you have to do when you're cooking in an oven. Just a different cook. Just get all that fat in there, scored up. Just like you would do a big pork roast. Just let my tip of my knife just cut that fat. And you won't even see these cuts because when it starts to cook in, it's all gonna just put itself right back. So here we go. Just like that. And we're done. That's all you gotta do. We're gonna flip this over. Like I said, that's a big boy. And let's look at the back. Now I'm gonna turn it this way so you guys can see it. I got a big fat cap right here. I want that out of here. So I'm gonna take my knife and just cut this big flap from the bottom off of here. Look at that, it's just pure fat. And I'm gonna try to get in here and get as much as that as I can out of here because it's not gonna render in an oven. So all that fat, get it out. And that's what you're looking for, big pockets of fat in here. See that? It's nothing but pure fat in there. Just gonna get my knife up under there and remove all that. I got a nice cap here. And there we go. That's all. I'm gonna feel around. Little fat here, that's soft fat, so I'm gonna leave that fat. And I need fat that's just pretty much hard, like this one right here. I'm gonna take my knife and get it in here. And get this pocket right out of here. See this pocket of fat? This is what you don't want. And just cut it right out. See that? Now you got this piece down in here. I'm gonna take my knife, follow around, rip back, and I want that piece out of there. And now, all that heat can reach the meat. See that? It's all gone. That's where most of that fat was, right in there. And guess what? We're done. And the rest of this, I'm leaving right on, but that hole that's in here, I mean, most of that came from that one piece on that meat. So let's flip this back over. And let's take a look at everything we took off here. Let's put it on top. And look at that. That's what we took off. All right, I'm gonna get cleaned up, and then we're gonna show you the next step and get this guy all nice and rubbed down with salt, and then we're gonna stick it in the fridge. We'll show you where to go from there, so stick around, don't go anywhere. Now we're moving on to the next step. It's time to actually get this salted. Now, a lot of people would season this before it goes into the oven, but we're not going into the oven with it. So what we're gonna do is give it a salt brine. So we're gonna use a good amount of salt. And we're gonna leave this in the fridge for 3 days. And we're gonna let that salt just break down that fat that's on there. And you want a good amount of salt because you want this to seep into the meat. Then afterwards, we're gonna actually cold smoke this. I got a couple of cold smoke videos out, but we're gonna go back over what cold smoking is just a little bit with you guys. But we're gonna cold smoke this. All right, so pat it in. We're gonna flip it over. Just like that. Now this is a tray I put things away in because they're bendable. You know, if you need to get in an area that's tight, you can always, it'll bend and give some give on you there. This way you have it. All right, so we got that. And now we're gonna go in and sprinkle a little bit more salt over top on the bottom end. And you want a good amount of that salt. It's a big piece of meat. Just like that. It's going to change the texture in here and suck out some water. And that's what you're looking for. All right, so I'm going to rub this in. Just like that. And this is really going to make this piece of meat really tender. And let that salt just soak into there. So I'm gonna go 2 days, just like this in the fridge. I'll let that salt soak into that meat. And when we come back here, on the cold smoker we go. And leave it up on the fat side, because when all the water starts to drip in here, it's all going to drip into the fat. If you leave it on this side might become a little too salty, so you don't want to do that. So just leave it on the fat side like that, because the fat's not going to absorb all that salt. And it's just going to bust down all that fat that's on here and help that fat render evenly. And that's what you're looking to do here. All right, that's it. We're going to wrap this up, and then we're going to meet you back here in a couple of days, show you the next step. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we're ready to put this meat inside the cold smoker. I left this in the fridge for 2 days. I went about there with it because it felt like it firmed up enough for me, and I like how it looks with the salt on here after 2 days. It didn't draw too much of the moisture out, but it drew enough out that I'm happy with. During wintertime, or our wintertime in the south, it gets cold outside. It's going down to about 30 degrees tonight. And during that time, my favorite time, I like to smoke cheese. So right here we have a couple of cheese nets. So these are baskets made by the Pit Barrel Cooker. And what I do is I use them for cheese. Now, the Pit Barrel, these are great because you can hang these up. I don't get paid to advertise anything here. I just think they're a great company, and I use these for cheese. So Pit Barrel, if you guys are listening, you could use these guys or advertise these guys to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing a cheddar cheese and a sharp cheddar cheese. Lock them in like that, and now they're ready for cold smoke. These cold smoke videos, there's no heat involved in here. It's just straight cold smoke. So imagine your refrigerator filled full of smoke. It doesn't cook anything. It basically just seasons it with smoke. And smoke as a seasoning or a spice, like a lot of things out here. You would use smoke as a seasoning just like you would garlic powder or ginger or salt and pepper. And you can't put too much smoke on it. You have to have the right amount of smoke to taste good. So all of the smoked cheeses that are out here on the market, I'm going to show you how to do a smoked cheese at home. And it's very simple and very easy. All you need is a nice cold day, which a lot of you have. So onto the cold smoker we go. All right, it's 31 degrees outside. Let's show you what we got in here. All right, look at that. That's some strong smoke. We got our cheese hanging up. Take a look at that. She's looking right. All right, I'm gonna let this go. This is going all night long. So we get a long smoke here. Cold smoke. Remember, there's no heat in here at all. It's like a refrigerator, just cold with smoke. We'll meet you back here tomorrow to pull this, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, it's the next morning. Let's show you what we got. All right, look at that. Our cheese is ready. And you can see them all nice and dark on the sides. Got a good smoke on there. Let's show you the white one. Look at that. Nice easy smoke. I could double smoke this if I want, but we want a nice light smoke on here because we don't want too much heavy smoke. Look how dark that came out. A lot of hours in there. I think we got about 16 hours of smoke on here, and that's what you want. So now it's time to put it back in the fridge, then we're gonna cook it. We'll meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, our brisket is off the cold smoker. We got our oven going at 285 degrees. Let's show you what to do with the brisket. All right, first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna take this brisket and I'm gonna put it back onto the bench. I'm gonna put it on the skin side down, and I'm gonna show you this. See, this is why I don't trim my briskets, especially for indoor briskets. Now I'm gonna feel around the brisket, and I feel some hard parts here, just a little bit dried out from being salted and on the cold smoker. So what we do is we take our knife, and I'm gonna trim away on some of those spots, because I wanna get to the meat. It's almost like a dry aged steak. You want to cut off the rot, but this is not rot, it's just hard. And it's not going to make for a very good brisket on the end. So this right here, I cut this right off. And those do good for dog treats. So don't throw those away, because your doggies will love those. They're almost like, you know, beef jerkies. So I'm just going to feel around and feel if there's any spots that I don't like here. I'm just going to trim that off. And when you slice your brisket, even if you don't cut this off, the first couple of pieces, you'll have to discard or just give them to any dogs or cats or family members that like those parts. So here we go. I'm gonna feel around again. I'm gonna spin this around. And this is a little fat here. Now I got a really rough edge right here. So I'm gonna take my knife and just cut that off. Now, I never waste meat or cut into anything, but when you do it this way, it's going in the oven, so you're gonna sacrifice something using an oven. I'm just gonna take this edge off. So using an oven, you kind of have to trim a brisket. I'm gonna look at this end. That's a big boy. I'm gonna flip this back over. I want you to see the skin on here. It's almost turned to mush. This is from the salt. And this is why you leave all that fat on here and salt it. Let me tell you something. For you guys, if you never had a brisket like this in an oven, you might even choose this over a smoker. All right, I'm gonna cut this end off. And now I feel around and I don't have any hard spots. And the last thing I'm gonna show you guys is the skin. So we just put salt on here, that's it. Now watch this, look at my knife. I can go right through. Look how easy that just falls apart. It almost took bad fat and it made a good fat. So all that fat that's on here, look at that. It's almost like mush. And that's what you want, because it's gonna melt down into this piece of meat. And then you just slice it up just a little bit. Don't go through, but just take your knife and just score it. And this will just fall right down into the meat. I mean, we scored it before, but now it's really sensitive. So you can really get in there and score it good. I'm gonna show you how easy this is just to cut off a piece of fat. I mean, I'm gonna hold this up and look at that. It's right off. I mean, this is not tough anymore. You can cut through here with a normal knife. And that's it. All right, so now that we got that seasoned up, I'm gonna take all these trimmings that we have in here, and I'll just get them back onto the bench. Put them over here, and I'm gonna get this piece of meat onto the tray. So I'm gonna put this tray in. Now I want this brisket up high. I don't want it low. So let's just slide this over. I don't want it low because I don't want all the heat banging against the bottom here, and I want this heat to evenly distribute throughout the meat. So I'm going to put this on here evenly. I'm even going to put another tray underneath this to catch any drippings, but by the time this shrinks down, it'll be fine in here. All right, so we got that. Garlic powder, onion powder. I'm going to sprinkle. Just like that. I'm just doing one side of this because it's all going to just go down into the meat with all the fat. And it's already salted. So no worries. So that's it, just one side. And then black pepper. Good amount of that. Here we go, a little olive oil. Then I'm gonna rub this in. Set the color on here. And that's it, so get that fat started rendering early with the oil. And I promise you guys, this will be the best oven brisket you ever had in your life. I know what you guys are probably thinking right now. Is there going to be a smoke ring? Well, I'll leave you in suspense, and we're going to have to find out. Because it was cold smoked. So you guys are probably asking the question, does cold smoke leave a smoke ring? You'll have to watch. All right, there we go. 285 degrees. I'm putting it fat side up. Into the oven we go. I'm gonna put a tray under here so it doesn't leak in my oven. And that's it. Into the oven we go. All right, here we go. And watch your fingers. I got a tray on the bottom. I got a tray underneath that we're parking this on. So you want it just like that, about 5 hours or two, it gets a beautiful color on it. We'll meet you back here, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, we're almost 2 hours into our cook. Brisket's cooking away in the oven. Now it's time to show you a spray mist that we're gonna put on here, because we're not gonna base this roast that we have in here now because it's a little bit different than the barbecue, so we want a very slow, easy mist to go on here. We don't wanna drown this. We wanna keep all that moisture, but we don't wanna drown it, and we don't wanna ruin our bark for cooking inside the oven. So let's show you how to get this done. All right, so right here we have a cup of water. I got some apple cider vinegar and I have a little sugar. So we're just gonna put some sugar in here. Now the sugar is gonna help with the bark. For indoors. And then we got some apple cider vinegar. We're just gonna go with a 50-50 mixture. So half water, half apple cider vinegar. There you go. Now it's mixed up. Now this is a mister. This is not a sprayer. This is a fine mist. And you can get these in the flower shops, or maybe Home Depot has them. I'm gonna fill it up just like that. And I'm gonna show you what comes out of here. So here we go, we lock it on. Gonna move this off to the side. And watch this. Let's just pump it up. You see that? That's a fine mist. So I'm squeezing this and it's still releasing the mist. See that? You don't even see it. It's just that fine of a mist. And that's what we want to hit this roast with. So it's going to build up a beautiful bark inside. And that's it. All right, let's go get this thing done. All right, it is time to mist this. Let's just drag this out of here. Can only come out so far. All right, here we go. and it's not going to make a mess out of your oven. Get a good mist on there. See that little bit of water it's building up? With a little bit of liquid from the vinegar in the water. That's what you want. And I got it all dripping down into that pan. And it's not going to ruin the beautiful bark that we're going to build up on here. And that's it. All right, we're going to see you back here. A couple hours, we're going to hit it again. That's about it. We'll see you right before we wrap it. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, it's time to pull this. Now, before we pull this, we jacked this oven up to 300 degrees. We were at 380. We were at 285. We went up to 300. Now that's the temperature just increasing from the increase I did. Look at that. All right, we're gonna get this out of here. Meet you on the table. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, our brisket is out of the oven for now. It's time to wrap this and put this back in. Let's show you what we got. Okay, 5 hours in, take a look at that bark. So now I'm gonna move this over. Now, this was on the top rack, and look at everything that came out of that brisket. It's got all that nice tallow and juice. So we're gonna move this off to the side, and we're gonna take all this, and we're gonna put this right into a bowl. Just like that. And now, we don't wanna waste all this, so we're gonna put this off to the side. We're gonna take our brisket, let me get these gloves off, and we're gonna bring our brisket back over. So this brisket's really hot to handle right now, so I'm gonna put on a set of heat gloves. Let's get this brisket moved over, and look at this. See, it's got some wiggle already in it, and it's nice and jiggly, so see that? That's how you want that. 5 hours in. So it's got jiggle already. And now we're gonna bring this back in. So this is all melted down juice. It's got tallow, everything in here, but we don't want this completely swimming in it. So what we'll do is we're gonna baste this with our natural tallow. Oh, you can smell this right now. I mean, this is a different smoke because you can smell the cold smoke. Now it's cooked. So it just gives off a very different aroma in the house, and it smells wonderful. It's aroma like most will never smell. So we get that nice and coated, just like that. Gotta go a little bit more. And I'm using a lot of the tallow that's on here, the natural tallow, to keep this juicy. So don't be afraid to use the tallow. We just don't have it swimming in it. All right, so now we got that. Now we're gonna start to wrap. Now this came out of the oven. All this is piping hot. So when you wrap this, you wanna be very careful not to burn yourself. So I'm gonna get this wrapped up, and then we're gonna meet you right back here to stick this in the oven, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, 300 degrees. We're gonna take this up to about 205, 204, around there, depending on how it feels. We'll meet you back here. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, all of the hard work is done. The brisket's in the oven and it is cooking away. So we drained some oil off of that brisket. Let's show you what to do with it. All right, what you're gonna need is a vessel. I'm using this one. You could use a glass one, this way you could see it. I got double strainers here. So you're gonna take this and look at all that nice oil. It's tallow, beef fat. We're gonna drain it. I'm gonna drain it nice and easy. And you can see I'm not draining out the dark part. I'm gonna drain it nice and slow. until we get all that nice oil out of there. Now the dark part's coming. Now I'm going to stop, because that's juice, and that's mostly tallow there. So what we'll do from here is just put this in the fridge, and take a look at that. We'll put this in the fridge. It's going to harden. It's going to turn white. We'll be able to scrape off all the white on the top, and the remaining of it we'll leave behind, or we could use it for a stock. You can do that, but if you just want the grease part of it, the tallow, there it is. And you can see it starting to separate now. So you can actually strain this again one more time. You can strain it a couple of times until you get it just clear. But I always find letting this cool down and scrape it from the top, it'll turn white, and you scrape all the white away. That's what you're looking for. All right, that's it. We're gonna wrap this up and we'll meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, that brisket's out of the oven. It's resting for about an hour and a half. Now, that's what you want to do. You want to let that rest for about an hour and a half. It is tightly wrapped. It's really sealed tight. Hour and a half, that's what you need. So right now, we're showing you a beautiful mixed salad. In the very beginning of this video, we showed you that smoked cheese. We're not letting you out of this without showing you this beautiful smoked cheese. I'll show you how to get this done. So I always love a great salad to go along with brisket. So here's that cheese. Beautiful, right? Look at that. You can see all the corners done, and it just smells beautifully with all that nice smoke. So we got a mixed salad for you. So we're using a mixed salad, purple onion, some cranberries. Right here we have some sliced up carrot, garbanzo beans. So we're going to start off with a little vinegar in here. This is an apple cider vinegar. Olive oil. This is just our base for the salad. And I start off most of my salads like this. Touch of salt, and we want the cheese to really be the star of the show here, and we don't want to overpower the salad. So let's just mix this up, bring it together. Now that that's brought together, we're going to get in some ingredients. I'm going to go in with some of the cranberry, garbanzo beans. I'm just going to use it all up. Onion. We got a whole onion here. I'm going to put most of it in. I kind of just sectioned everything out and made the amounts mine. And make the amount yours. And always make it yours. I think I'm going to put it all in. Now I'm going to take my hands and just mix it. I always feel your hands are the best tools in the kitchen. And I use a lot of the tongs. A lot of the times you see me use the tongs because they resemble a hand. You could always pick up things with a tong, and that's why I use the tongs all the time. The minute I see people using a bunch of spoons or different things in the kitchen and they're not really working with their tongs, I know they're new to the kitchen. You can pretty much walk into any professional kitchen and everybody's got a set of tongs. All right, so here is our mixed salad. It's a beautiful mixed salad. We're gonna bring in a bowl, and I'm just gonna start to assemble the salad right in the bowl. I'm gonna put some in, and now I'm gonna take some of my mixture and just give it a toss. It's a very easy way to put your salad together, and it's foolproof. And if you have any mixture left over the next day, you can always build another salad from there. So we'll just give that a quick toss. And I think I'm gonna put a little bit more in there. Give that a toss. And I want a little bit more height on here. See how simple this is? So you're just basically layering it. What we did was just build in layers. Just like that. I'm gonna get a little bit of the juice in there. The vinaigrette that we made. Off to the side we go with that. Then we're gonna just top this with a little black pepper right on top. fat, and then we have that beautiful cheese. So I'm gonna go in with some cheese on here on top. And you can always grate some at the table or bring some to the side of the table, and this way you have that nice smoky cheese to put on top, which we'll show you guys when we plate up. So there you go. And then I'm gonna put some in a bowl, of course, where you can bring this whole thing to the table. It presents beautifully. And you can just present it at the table, and everyone can just put their own on, but you have to keep it cold. So there you go. And make sure you get some of these different smoky bits at the corner here, because they're the smokiest because they've been in the smoke. And you can see the darkness in there. All right, there you go. We'll spread this cheese around. And now you got a beautiful salad. It's layered. You can pull some from the top and you can put some more cheese on there, and that's it. All right, we're gonna meet you back here. We're gonna get organized. We're gonna cut that brisket up. We're gonna eat. Stick around, don't go anywhere. Here we are, season 6's chopping block. Oven, cold smoked brisket. Let's recap this. We took a brisket, we salted it, we kept it in the refrigerator for 2 days. We cold smoked it for 17 hours. We took it out, we stuck it in the oven for 10 hours. We let it rest for 1 out of those 10 hours. This is what we got. Look at that. And it's got plenty of wiggle in it. Look at that. See it wiggling? That's a nice brisket. We'll get this out of here. I'm gonna slide this off to the side. And then we're gonna get this onto the bench. And it's still warm. There we go. All right, so what I'm gonna do from here, I'm gonna cut this, and I'm gonna cut it right where the flat meets the point. I'm gonna cut this pretty much on an angle, but look at this, look at that fat that's on here. It's almost like jello. I mean, you can see it, it just shakes. So let's cut this. I know what you guys are wondering, is or is there not a smoke ring? Look at that. A slight reddish hint, but no smoke ring. But you really don't need that smoke ring, especially with an indoor brisket, because it cooks up excellent, and that smoke ring doesn't make a bit of difference. It's all for looks. And you do get that when you're using real wood, real charcoal, and just pellet is sometimes not gonna get it. All right, so I'm actually gonna put the flat off to the side first. And this time out, we're gonna work with the point. And turn it to the side, and we're just gonna get the first end cap off of there. Look at that. And you can still see it hot. Now I could have let this cool down. But that's beautiful. I mean, that's a home cooked brisket. And you know what? It's Walmart. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Walmart brisket. We're not talking very expensive brisket at all, but look at that. It rendered down beautifully. So anybody says that they can't get an oven brisket rendered down, I beg to differ. But that's gorgeous. And it's still hot, and you can see that wiggle. I'm gonna move this off to the side. But before we do that, let's pick up a piece hot. Look at that. Gorgeous. Whew. That's real hot. I'm just gonna take my knife, cut through here, and we're gonna get a piece of that. Gonna pull it apart. Look at that. That's the point, and it pulls beautifully. Let's try that. That is phenomenal. That has a taste like no other. I mean, we salted it. So just that salt cure in there. You can taste the salt throughout this piece of meat. To be honest with you, this will give any brisket that's cooked on a real smoker a great run for its money. Might even beat it. All right, let's get that flat in here. And just look at that. Look at that wiggle in there. And all that fat. I love the fat. That's my favorite part. I'm gonna turn this to the side so you guys see this. And we're gonna just start to cut this down. Now that's a pretty thick piece. I'm gonna cut that off because it wasn't connected to the point. And now we're gonna just cut through this. I'll show you this now. Look at that. Let's cut another one. Straight through. Now let's give this one the old bin test. Look at that. Can you believe that? That's an oven brisket. Let's show you this one. Look at that. Come on. You're not gonna go wrong with this one. And let's give this one a try. We didn't rub it in tallow. You're seeing it right here firsthand. Let's give this a shot. Outstanding. That fat tastes like butter. That is just insane. That's beautiful. Watch this. Right in half. Doesn't get any better than that. We're gonna get organized and we're gonna meet you guys right back here and plate up, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we are, officially on season 6's chopping block. Time to plate up. Let's bring in a plate. And now what I like to do is pick out my meat. So I'm going for the point tonight. And get some of that right onto the plate. And look at that. Beautiful. I think I'm gonna choose. Look at that, that's the piece of the flat there. I'm gonna get that right in. I mean, that's from an oven. Let's get some salad on the plate. Now this is that salad we made with the cheese. I'm going simple tonight. Tonight's a meat night. I'm gonna save as much room as possible for that meat. So we get a nice salad here, some mixed spring salad, and that's all we need. We don't need any garnish or anything else. I'm gonna spin this around so you guys can see what I'm looking at. That's it. Let's get into this. Let's give this meat a try again. I mean, I'm just gonna pick it up, pull it apart. There we go. Let's give that a shot. That is tender, juicy. That salt brine, it really did its thing. We got a touch of that cold smoke taste in there. It's not too much, it's just a hint in the background. Doesn't taste anything like a liquid smoke. It's a completely different beast. Beautiful piece of meat. I mean, cooked in the house like that, it's 50-50. I'd have the one outside, I'd have this one too. I wouldn't be able to make up my mind, to be honest with you. That's it. Let's try that salad. That's a dynamite salad. Always love garbanzo beans. They work well with salads, especially a mixed salad. Going back to that cheese in there, it's so powerful. That cold smoke really seeps into that cheese. I mean, it's strong. You really taste it a lot. It's not gentle. So all you need is a little bit of that, because it could be very overpowering. And you're gonna have to watch how long you smoke your cheeses. Now that one won about 17 hours. Personally, I take it back to about 12. That one there, it's got some kick. But other than that, excellent, excellent, excellent meal. The combination works wonders. All right, we're gonna get organized. We're gonna meet you guys right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, and there it is. One phenomenal cold smoked, oven cooked brisket, cooked to absolute perfection. That's competition worthy right there. That was in a competition. It's got all the characteristics. It's spot on. We served that with a beautiful salad on the side. And we smoked some cheese for you as well too. I hope you learned something from that beautiful lesson of brisket and smoked cheese. You really got to try that smoked cheese, because that's a great one. We enjoyed you guys. We always enjoy you being here with us. We thank you very much. And until next time, always got to get that pitmaster taste there.